How's everyone doing? Welcome to the final episode of After the After Hours with your boy TraderPrad. The final day of this week is tomorrow going to be a free fall Friday. Now get ready for tomorrow. Powell going on the microphone. Powell going on the microphone again. Get ready for tomorrow. So I do have a watch list ready, but if you guys are ready, hit that like and subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for all the support. Started. Why don't we dive into the full screen and hit that like and subscribe. Welcome back to another episode. That's right. Just give me a second. Let me turn the volume down here. Trying to do too many things at once and not able to focus on any of them. Okay, here we go. Everything is good. The chart is loaded. The microphone's working. The volume of the music is lower. How did you guys do today? Hopefully a nice green day for yourself. Market was, another big down day on the market. S&P 500. I guess I shouldn't say big down day, but the market did start off by looking very, very weak at one point. Eventually rebounding quite well. The QQQ rebounded right from the 10-day moving average on the 1 week chart. So if you go to the weekly, you can see how the 10-day moving average, this is the 9, but they bounced right off the 10-day moving average, showing you that, hey, we're still kind of in the weekly chart trend. This doesn't mean that this market bounces right back up and goes to a new all-time high, but it's a good thing to see that buyers are still willing to step up. And if you guys remember me saying not too long ago that the market never really has bad things happening to it until it starts to hold below the 50-day moving average, which we're still a little bit far ways from, but potentially testing it sometime this week. Maybe tomorrow we have another push down, testing of the lows, testing of the buyers, and then a push back up. I do have to remind people though, even though we have two back-to-back down days on the market, we're still above the original high the market put in at the start of the year. So it's still a bullish indication for me. If you look at where the market ended last year, somewhere around right over here, this is where the market ended last year, and now we're actually up 11%, well technically 7% from last year's close, which is generally I'm not sure if that's how they measure it, but generally that is the gain average gain per year on the portfolio, right, on the market, which is 7 to 11%. So I'm not saying that's the top for the market. Expecting it to go higher is crazy, but you know, it makes sense that we are seeing the action we're seeing. It's 7 to 11% from where we closed last year at. We are up 40 to 50% from the lows of this year itself. So lots of recovery across the board, and potentially some sideways, some channeling, some moving averages catching up to the lows of the consolidations, and then potentially the second leg, or I should say, yeah, you know what, let's call it the second leg, because this was technically, the whole thing is, this is one straight leg for me, but this is what I'm looking for. I'm expecting some sideways, some choppy, some boring action coming into play before the market actually gets ready for an eventual next upburst run up. So nice pullback across the board, opportunity for people to buy stocks that they previously missed out on, like Reddit dropping back to the 10-day moving average. Well, not 10, I think this is actually dropping down to the 20-day moving average. So dropping back down. Your Roblox still holding up fairly well, but watching Roblox very closely, watching ALAB as that one's behaving fairly well today, bouncing off of the same area that Roblox kind of bounced off of in terms of moving averages. Palantir, Robinhood reclaimed the $100 area really quick after getting below it. So lots of stocks are basically giving you a little bit of a dip buy opportunity. Now the question is, which one of them hold up, which one of them actually continue rallying, and which ones actually give it up and push right back up. Surprisingly enough, RIOT is green on the day, MARA is green, Coinbase was green, MSTR turned from red to green. This is mainly Bitcoin. Bitcoin did look like it was gonna BTC USD. Bitcoin did look like it was gonna get below that little previous low that I have mapped out. So if you mark that out, that's right around 1200. So had we actually gone below 1200 on Bitcoin, I think IBIT would have been a good short around 64. Coinbase and MicroStrategy would have also been two other names to keep an eye out for the bleed for the short side. A little pop today, potentially worth keeping an eye on for the next few days, as Bitcoin currently sadly looks very, very weak at the moment. However, Ethereum looking like it wants to now be the leader of the cryptocurrency market. Ethereum bouncing right back up. It actually held the 21-day moving average perfectly for the last 2 days in a row, and now right back up to the north side. With Ethereum going back up, you're probably going to have stocks like SBET, BMNR, any other names that you remember that are in the Ethereum treasury conversations that were releasing this PR/news catalyst not too long ago. Those are all the names that you technically want to keep an eye out for. So BMNR and SBET are the two that I'm keeping an eye out. I see John talking about Nvidia, Tesla, Datadog. Yeah, a lot of these stocks, the large cap stocks, except for Apple, which was like, what the hell? Like, come on, Apple. Except for Apple, most of them actually did fairly well. Microsoft pulling back to the 50-day moving average. Actually, this was probably the deepest pullback in the large cap basket. Microsoft at the 50-day. Where's Meta? Meta is bouncing a little bit higher above the 50-day and trying to reclaim the 21-day moving average. You have Microsoft, Meta, Nvidia, which completely bounced right back to the upside. Nice move on Nvidia, only down 0.14% today. Google is another one. Let me just quickly show you all the Magnificent 7 here. I just have them already open. I didn't even realize it. So the red for the most part. Apple being the biggest red. Is this 7? Yeah, that's not 7. There you go. Apple being the biggest red out of them. Yep, Apple being the biggest red. Then Tesla. Then Amazon. Amazon was actually a good trade for myself today. I had a long on Amazon because I was late to get to work. because I was late to get to work, I could not catch the short on most of the names, so missing out on the short on a lot of the stocks over here, but was able to capture a long right around somewhere here as the S&B Capital backside scalp comes into play, which is basically wait for a higher low, wait for a higher high, and that is right in this area. The stock is also above the 9 moving average on the 1 minute, which was actually a nuance that I missed before. I used to think just a simple higher low and a higher high was good enough for the backside scalp, but diving into the nuances, the best ones actually reclaim the 9 moving average on the 1 minute and start finding buying above the 9 moving average on the 1 minute. Keep in mind, obviously, the moving averages are laggard. They're not painting the chart is painting the moving averages, so you're just basically analyzing the time of sales, analyzing the buyers and the sellers by incorporating these tools into your analysis scan. Not only are you looking at the range over here to take a long, you're also trying to see, are they holding this range below the 9-day moving average? Are they holding this range above, sorry, not 9-day, 9-period moving average? Or are they holding this above the 9-period moving average? For example, over here you can see how for the most part the highs where the 9 moving average on the 1 minute kind of comes in. Over here it's more on the low end, right, where we're supporting. Over here we're rejecting. So this action, given also how the market was bottoming out, a lot of the large cap stocks already had made their run back to the north side, such as Nvidia, Tesla, a lot of them actually had already made their run back up, whereas Amazon did not really run back up yet. So it was more on a watch for me, because how low is the stock gonna go, and the lower the stock goes while the market is bouncing back up, the bigger the chance that this has a really clean move up higher, where my win rate just gets juiced even more, right? So my win rate goes up, the lower the stock goes down for my long scalp. So keeping an eye out for it. That setup came into play. I basically captured the whole move straight to VWAP. I took some profits actually in this range high just to protect myself, so right around 223, and then the rest of my shares were right around 223.50, 70, 80, 224, and so on. I tried to short in this area a little bit. Didn't work. I lost barely anything, but my manager got mad at me. Of course, why would he not be mad at me? He loves to be mad at me. He wakes up probably being, oh, I get to yell at Prad today. So shout out to him for being mad at me over here for this one. However, the trade was actually a shit trade no matter what, so I understand his point of view on this one, but I barely lost any money on the short side compared to on the long side, so I'm not really too upset about losing the amount of money I lost over there. Overall, slightly red day for me. Not worried. We got bigger worries down the future. Bigger worries regarding, am I going to open up my own trading account and leave the prop office? And the question to that answer, so the answer to that question is most likely yes. We'll figure out how that's gonna play out. I need to hash out a couple details, but we are looking at most likely starting to trade our own money independently. We'll see if I'll be able to open up my own prop account with my own prop office. That basically means that I'm risking my own money, or do I have to just go trade some random third-party brokerage like Trade Zero and have a small account like a 5K 10K account and trade with that small account? And if that's the case, then might have to get a part-time job, and we'll see how all of those things, little details over there, end up hashing out. So just a little update, a little heads up for you guys for the coming weeks, as I still have to figure out how I am going to play this out for myself. So if you guys do hear me canceling streams in the middle of the week, that's probably why, because I might have to go on meetings, I might have to go on calls, I might have to actually travel to talk to people. So if you guys do see me canceling the stream, please do know that things are changing a little bit, so I have to deal with that. Just a little heads up for the coming few weeks. However, tomorrow is the final stream of the week. That means you know, we're gonna be there. We're gonna be there for the stream, and I would love to see you guys show up to that one. Okay. And then there are back rubs. What the heck are you talking about, bro? Okay. We got a watch list for tomorrow. Really, I don't really have a watch list for tomorrow. You know, I think most of these stocks at the moment are you're just focusing on the large cap stocks, because these high beta names, or is it low beta? I'm not sure how to exactly put it. But the stocks that are generally moving with the market and are also very extended, for example, Palantir is one of them, moving with the market generally, and is very, very extended to the upside. 200-day moving average at 105, and the stock was barely near 200. Shout out to Jim Cramer, by the way, who absolutely destroyed the stock's momentum towards 200 by saying that it's gonna go to 200 somewhere around this range, and completely annihilated the stock's momentum. You know, if you are an investor, a holder, a buyer of Palantir, and you're upset about this move, you know who to send your hate mail to. It's to Jim Cramer's door. Coming back to my point, however, you know, these stocks at the moment, all of them, there's a million of them that you can basically find the same patterns on, right? So if you really care to trade, you know, you don't have to catch them all. You can just focus on what happened this. Okay. You don't have to catch them all like Pokemon, right? But if you're watching the right names, the one or two names, you'll end up fighting the right play for you to take advantage. For example, Palantir, Nvidia, Amazon, those were the only three names that you really needed. You could have even had a Robinhood in that basket. Right off the open, you got a monster flush to the downside today. Afterwards, you got a completely, you know, insane reversal back to the upside. A double bottom on Nvidia. Palantir bottoming and giving you a V-shaped recovery. Robinhood giving you a bottom and a nice recovery, and a FLS setup, which is a SMB Capital setup. So there's so many opportunities that just popped up today for us to take advantage of. Look at Robinhood, for example. This was down apparently 14 ATR from the open. I'm not sure how this actually calculates it. This is better used on the daily chart, but apparently you can also use it on the smaller time frames, because you can see how it clearly shows you a bottoming out action right around where these dots start to come into play. Not really, I guess. That dot is here, that dot's here, that dot's there. Not really. Yeah, this is more on the higher time frame, like the daily time frame. Don't try to use this indicator on a smaller time frame. At least I'm almost certain you're not supposed to use this one on a smaller time frame. So those are basically the names that I'm going to watch tomorrow again. Your semiconductor names, your AI names, your crypto names, basically all the stocks that have been very much in play going up in the recent run. So Reddit, Palantir, Dell is actually ooh, wow, okay, what a nice pullback on Dell. Aren't I glad that I completely closed my Dell position somewhere in this range. Nice pullback on Dell over there. I actually was long here, if I remember correctly, and I was able to ride it all the way to the north side, which is great. Trying to remember other names that are significant somewhere in the OKLO, which is the what is this? This is the nuclear basket. So OKLO, SMR, NNE. SMR actually pulled back a lot more than I thought it did. Not really the basket to keep an eye on right now, I guess. ANET, ALAB, trying to see what charts look good. TJ Maxx reported earnings today, and they basically gave up all of the move, completely pulled back after the initial run up off the open. But if there's a name to keep an eye on for the long side, I would think that name would be TJ Maxx, based on its earnings report, based on how it went into a new all-time high, and it is very, very bullish. Yeah, market pulled back today, and I think that caused most of the give back on TJ Maxx. But if the market, after 2 big red days in a row, manages to find a green day, I think TJ Maxx possibly uses that green day catalyst to propel itself back to the upside. Currently under $140. I'd imagine $140 is the significant even dollar psychological price point that most people would want to see the stock above if they want to go long. And if the stock is not able to get above 140, then you would probably question the stock to begin with, as to, is this even a worthy name to have on the watch list for the long side? This is for the investing side, right? This is for the swing side. If big players are gonna buy the stock, I'd imagine that they would want to see $140 area becoming support, or they turn $140 into a support, which gives us the trade to play with. Because you want to see big money stepping up. You want to say big money seeing $140 area and going, oh, you know what? That's a very cheap price, especially after that earnings report. I didn't read the earnings report. I'm just saying out loud what my theory is. If that report is good, you would want to see them buying 140 and turning 140 into support, which clearly they were not able to do so today. So if they're able to do that tomorrow, then there's potentially a long play for us to take advantage of on TJ Maxx. So I'm just gonna put 140 as my inflection area. We'll see if I'm even trading tomorrow to begin with, which is probably part of the reason why you see me a little dejected at the moment, a little dejected. But even if I'm not trading tomorrow, I'll be giving you guys some setups and some ideas if I can find them. So if you guys have any stocks that you want me to take a look at, feel free to throw it in the watch list or throw it in the chat, and then we'll take a look at it. Tesla breaking back down under that trend line, never a good sign when that happens. Potentially bleeding back into the lower end of these ranges. Obviously depends on how the market's doing. Zim reported earnings today pre-market, if I remember correctly, and the level in question was $15, and the stock actually managed to stay above $15 for pretty much more than half of the day. So for me, that looks like a reclaim of 15, and the stock is basically irrelevant from here on out for me for the day trade side. Maybe worth keeping an eye on for a swing trade, for the fact that it reclaimed 15. Today's low was basically 14. So if today's high ends up becoming, or let's just say 15 instead of making it fancy, a $15 area continues to show up as support again, potentially worth keeping an eye on Zim for a long and a reclaim of the 200-day moving average. Not too long ago, Zim was a very, very highly touted name by everybody. Victor H Investing, Momo in the chat, everyone out there that I knew wanted to buy some Zim shares, but now you barely hear a peep about it. So I wonder what happened. Maybe you can see what happened on the chart here. The stock clearly got really, really weak and staying below the 200-day, which is the purple moving average. Robinhood, nice reclaim with $100. Still under this last few days low, last week's low though. So that's still the important price point for me, even though today we did run up almost to 108. So somewhere between 106 to 108, I'd imagine is the secret sauce level. 106 to 108, the secret sauce level on Robinhood If we're able to find buying in this area, then the resolution of this area is going to be wonderful, because either a 108 breakout to the upside is going to take us back higher, or the 106 breakdown is going to take us back lower. But if we start seeing a different type of a situation where the stock is below 106, then we're gonna have to just short the pops into 106. If the stock is above 108 already, buy the dips into 108, and so on. So I think this 106 to 108 will be very, very key and informative as to how the stock is going to set up for the next few weeks and so on. What's up, Prad? Is there any ticker to get Ethereum exposure like IBIT? Yes, ETHA, ETHE. These are your Ethereum ETFs. Ethereum Grayscale Bitcoin was GBTC. Grayscale Ethereum Trust is ETHE. So if you're interested in the Grayscale Trust Fund coins, those are the tickers for that. If you want the iShare ETHA, these are is iShare SPY or is iShares their own thing? I don't know. I always get confused between these. But iShares is also one of the Ethereum trusts that you can use to trade. I think, what is it? One of them actually gives dividends, so you might want to be careful, because the ones that do dividends actually they don't move as well, because what is it? IBIT doesn't do dividends, but BITO does dividends. So you can see the difference in the chart. Whereas BITO is just chilling, not doing much. IBIT is basically mimicking what Bitcoin's doing. Alright? So you want to make sure that your Ethereum trust that you're trading, if you're trading it exactly to mimic what Ethereum overall is doing, then you want to obviously do that with the one that's not giving out a dividend. I don't know which one does and which one doesn't, so you might want to do a little bit of research on that side. But yeah, always on the watch list. I think more than the ETFs, the stocks are a little bit more interesting, mainly because of the possible rotation in the market at the moment. So the market is seeing a little bit of potential rotation. People were heavily invested into the technology stocks, into AI stocks, and now they are a little overvalued. They have run up, for the last few months, weeks, non-stop, that people are now looking to realize their profits and rotate that money into other names. You're watching UNH bottom out. You're watching you're watching IWM breaking out. Sadly, IWM did peak back below the breakdown today, or peak back below the breakout today. But potential rotation, long awaited rotation into small caps from the large caps. And if that's the case, I want to watch stocks like BMNR, SBET, any other stock that has recently announced the Ethereum Trust. You want to for sure keep an eye out for those. BMNR is a little bit more special, mainly because you have Peter Thiel, who said he is, a 7% stakeholder. Let's actually use our tools at disposal here. What is it? What's my shortcut? SEC scan BMNR. And this is gonna quickly take a quick little 3 minutes or so, do some research for us. It's gonna go through all the SEC filings and tell us exactly how much percentage each big player owns of BMNR. In the meantime, we'll quickly go back to the watch list. You can see how it's actually opening up 8K filings, 10Q filings, and so on. But in the meantime, go back to Reddit. Go back to the watch list. Reddit bounced perfectly, boop, off the earnings VWAP. Isn't that amazing? Not only did it bounce right off the earnings VWAP, it also bounced right off the 21-day moving average. If you're a swing trader and you bought Reddit because of its earnings report into $180, then you love to see this type of action, the stock bouncing right off the earnings view up and bouncing right off of moving averages. So very, very good indication on there. But obviously, I'm expecting a little sideways action before we see the next leg back to the upside on Reddit and other great actors in the game so far. You know, ANET kind of doing a similar thing, bouncing off of the 50-day moving, sorry, the 21-day moving average, and trying to go back up. ALAB, this one was a big miss from me, mainly because I was long and I got stopped out, and then I hesitated to go long in this area. What a miss. It's currently under its earnings VWAP, but still above some of the key short-term moving averages like the 21 and still below the 9, but potentially reclaiming the 9 very soon. UNH was going to be my other question. What's your opinion on that, or just more focused price action? I mean, look, if you look at UNH on the longer time frame, that looks very extended, right? This is the weekly chart, and that is very extended to the downside. And I don't think the fundamentals changed that drastically where it deserves to get beat down so drastically. However, ever since the CEO assassination, there have been a lot of downgrades, some business, a loss of business to UNH. You're also seeing, you know, government cracking down on UNH because of all the media reports that have come out saying, yeah, they are actually going out of their way to screw over claims. They're going out of their way to block claims for people who really need it, who actually qualify, but they're still just are gonna do it so they can get a you know, better bill, bigger bill, or whatever. So overall, I don't know how the fundamentally the company's gonna change, but just looking at the chart, just looking at the trade opportunity, you could say it has bottomed out, right? So bottomed out. Now you're getting the moving averages turning back up, and potentially a ride into the 200-day, which is what, $100 away from here. So you would basically have to risk $5-10 per share for a potential move of $100 per share, for a potential move of $200-300 per share. I think that's a very valid trade to look for. So the longer coil meaning sideways action, just buyers and sellers fighting in this area, the longer we coil in this area, the better the opportunity for us to enter to the upside or even to the downside. So just waiting patiently. If this does break down here the next few days and then pop back up, that's possibly my trigger to enter long. If it does break down, test the moving averages, and then pops right back into this range, I will get long potentially and risk that little low that it creates, add on this breakout, progressively keep increasing my exposure, and right, we'll see how much money can we make on that trade. Sadly, I was long 250, I got stopped out 240, and now the stock is at 300. So you know, sucks to be Prad sometimes. Palantir was spicy today indeed. I think I talked about it already. For most of these stocks, one thing that I really like to see is bar chart. So if you go to bar chart and type in over here Palantir, if you go to bar chart gamma view, you get to see the put wall and the call wall. So tomorrow the put wall is 160 and the call wall is 165. This might change in the pre-market. I'm not sure when they actually update this. If I remember correctly, they update this website at 8 p.m. every night. Or is it 8 a.m. every night? No, there you go. Approximately 8:30 p.m. every night for the next day. So updated 8:30 p.m. ET. just 5 minutes ago it got updated, and you're seeing the potential put wall is around 160 and call wall at 165, ideally saying that we're not expecting the stock to go any higher than 165. And you can see how yesterday's midpoint is exactly around that 164, 165. So very informative data, very good data to have in your notes in general. I'm expecting 164.50 to 165 come into as some sort of a struggle area, and if we do pull back to 160, I want to make sure that I'm taking profits and not being too greedy into 160, but also making sure that if 160 is weak, potentially a much bigger downside opening up on the stock. There's one earnings name on the basket over here that I want to talk about. Its name is Walmart. So let's go talk about quickly this bad boy. Very close to its all-time high also. And you know, very interesting setup over here. If you look at it on the weekly chart, somewhere basically breaking out above 105. Doesn't that look like a nice little flag breaking out of the flag, and then a nice little all-time high breakout on the weekly chart? This is the daily chart right now, so that's the little sideways flag, a breakout of the flag, a breakout, reject of the all-time high, a pullback and support of that little range high, which is also moving averages. So just multiple confluence levels, setups, and action in general. The price action in general is very bullish over here in this area with the way we're playing. Had it actually continued to bleed and go back into the 200-day moving average, I wouldn't have said the same thing, right? I would have said that's a little bit of bearish, because now you're getting the double top short sale trade playing out. Instead, the double top short sellers, whoever went short on the double top right before the earnings report, is for sure scared and shitting themselves now. If you went short here, you're asking, oh my god, the stock just bounced from the 21-day moving average. What are the chances it goes back into all-time high? What are the chances it breaks all-time high tomorrow pre-market and burns my stops and then just keeps on running up, right? So these questions, if you're short, are questions that you got to be asking yourself. And if you're not short and you're looking long, those are the questions you also need to ask yourself. What are the people who are against you on the other side thinking? And what are the people who are with you on your side thinking? If the longs are looking long in this area, and tomorrow we see the stock below $100, do you think anyone who went long in this area or in this area is going to be wanting to hold the stock below $100, even though we are above the 200-day? If it does flush back down, you think anyone wants to be holding you know, the $100 because we give it up? Probably not. You're gonna see some selling action, and then the bigger players are going to be trailing the 200-day moving average. So when the stock gives up the 200-day, you're gonna see even more unwind come into play. So just keeping an eye on the price action always is a good thing. Just understanding what buyers and sellers are doing, and you know, thinking about how they would react if they are wrong and how they would react if they are right. And same way for yourself. How would people in your direction react if they are wrong? And how would people in your direction react if they are right? If you're just simply ask these questions and try to understand the overall structure of any chart out there, you're going to be able to do really well for yourself, right? Just constantly ask questions. Constantly ask questions. Where are the moving averages? Where are the Bollinger Bands? What is the volume? That's a main big question if you're a day trader. I mean, you got to ask yourself that question if you're a swing trader too, but the one big major question you got to ask yourself as a day trader is, where is the volume? What is the volume? For example, Microsoft didn't really have a lot of volume on the day today compared to look at Microsoft compared to yesterday. The opening volume is very similar. The rest of the day volume is very similar. But let's go to Palantir. Right? Just because the market's selling off, you're probably thinking, oh, I'm gonna short Microsoft because Microsoft's a market beta name and it should also sell off with the market. You know what? You're not wrong in thinking that way, but where is the volume? And look at that. Look how much more volume Palantir is trading compared to the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we can keep pulling this chart back. It basically traded equivalent to August 5th day volume off the open, and August 5th day volume was still a lot more. We traded 1 million shares right off the open on the 5-minute. Today we only traded 800,000 shares off the open. But if you compare that to the last 5, 6, 7 days, that's a very big volume candle off the open, right? And then you can see how the volume stayed sustained relatively high, stayed sustained on the day, right? Even around this time of the day, the volume was pretty elevated compared to here. Look at these volume bars and look at where today's volume bars are. So just a quick little example as to how important some of these questions and indicators are for day trading. For swing trading, you're not really asking yourself, you know, I guess you are, depending on the setup, if you're taking breakouts and so on. But for swing trading, you don't really ask yourself those type of questions. At least from my experience, I haven't seen a lot of people dive that deep and surgical into their charts as a day trader does. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, please do correct me. The ETH is ETHV, says TH. ETHV is another Ethereum. This is Van Eck Ethereum ETF, $63, 69 bucks, no, $63, $64, and trades about 200,000 shares on average. Really, why are you even suggesting a stock or an ETF that trades barely anything? Just stick to ETHA. Average volume is 52 million shares, okay? Average volume 52 million shares, just way better liquidity, smaller price also. Instead of $69, this is at 30 bucks, right? So a smaller price, that means you can take more size if you have a smaller account in general. Okay, not sure where do I go from here, because honestly, I don't think I'm gonna be trading tomorrow. So I am kind of not interested to even you know, go and hunt for setups and hunt for stocks and charts. So if you guys have anything you want me to take a look at, please throw it in the chat, and I will gladly give you my 2 cents about it. Quickly taking a look at Micron while we can, waiting for to see if you guys posted any other names in there. JVS, Prad, and TTV clips all over YouTube. Who? Oh, Trader TV clip. Oh, why are we talking about that? JVS? Prad, you may be able to collect royalties from Trader TV Live. They ran a clip of you and Sharif making cookies. Cookies? What? What are you talking about? Cookies? You mean Luca? Sharif and Luca? I'm guessing you're talking about Sharif and Luca, right? Holy shit, what are these thumbnails? Has their view count dropped or gone up? Seems like their view count has dropped. It went from like 30,000, 50,000 views, right? Yeah, they used to get 30, 50,000 views. That's what you get when you drop the moneymaker. I'm joking. Look, I don't care what Trader TV Live does. I have no regard, no love in my heart for anyone in that company except for Neil. So period. Obviously Obi and all the junior traders I have love for, but I have no love for anyone in that company other than Neil. Everyone else can literally, I'm not gonna fill in the blank, okay? Let's come back to BMNR. Talk about BMNR really quick. Whoa, wait, I don't see a name that I thought I was supposed to see. Wasn't Peter Thiel in this name? Is that his capital name? Pretty sure this is Peter Thiel's, right? Nope. Does Peter Thiel have a stake? I don't need you to do the big research over here. Just give me the answer. Okay, he does. 9.1. I thought so. Not sure why that SEC reading could not find him. Oh wait, through his founders fund. Oh, maybe we did see that and I'm just blind. Let me quickly go back up. There was founders fund here. Is that it? FNY Investments? $57 position? Is that what you're reporting right now? That can't be real. How is that even real? The share count is what? Wait, maybe they're what? No, that doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense at all. Anyways, Peter Thiel having a 9.1% stake in BMNR makes that stock very interesting. ADI, that was the earnings name. Let's go see how ADI looks like. Oh, not bad. Nice little breakout, especially on a day like today, on a technology, on a semiconductor name. Semiconductors were uber weak today. For example, NVIDIA, Micron, AMD. You can just pull up the semiconductor ETF, SMH or SOXX, or SOX. Pretty sure SOX. Either way, you know, just pull up any of the semiconductor ETFs and you'll see that they all got slammed down. So ADI going up actually makes it very interesting because, wait, is this stock at near all-time high? That makes it even more fun. Yeah, it's pretty much at all. Yeah, it is at all-time high with a wonderful weekly flag. Wow, wow. So ADI, nice little rectangle box. I guess you wouldn't even call this a flag. This is just a nice little consolidation box. A failed breakout, reclaimed the 200 weekly moving average, bounced right back up. Not sure where this anchored VWAP comes from. If I was to guess, it's a previous earnings anchored VWAP, so I can probably delete that bad boy. Delete this bad boy too. Let me just delete all the lines. Go back to the daily chart and throw in that line up top here. No, I'm just gonna use this one here. Nope, I'm just gonna use this one here, which is the all-time high. So basically, if we do see NVIDIA, AMD, semiconductor sector recovering tomorrow, market recovering tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised watching ADI above 240, 250. So potentially keeping an eye on this one for a day two, and this actually becomes a high priority name for tomorrow. So I'm gonna watch this one with the purple priority. Obviously the large cap names, you know, NVIDIA, Tesla, QQQ, Palantir, Robinhood, even though Palantir, Robinhood are not, and are they considered large cap? Anyways, are on the watch list. I think ADI actually, I love the way this chart looks if we do get above 248 to 250 zone. So putting that one on watch. Okay. Dell down 4% amid broad technology sector weakness. We saw that real quick. GNRC. Intel. Did Intel get slammed back down? Let's see. As expected. Didn't I say look for Intel to pop to 26 area and then slam back down? As expected. TJT targets got blown out today. Did push below the range low. So staying below the range low basically would make things interesting. Let's just keep it simple. 100, right? Today's high was $99.50, $100. So staying below 100 on target would continue to make it weak in my opinion. So watching that one. And given that Walmart reports tomorrow pre-market, if Walmart reports weak, I promise you target, maybe promising you is not the right word to use, but I give you an 80% chance the target does not stay above 100 if market and Walmart are to the downside. So just keep an eye out for that trade over there. Since no one mentioned any other names in the chat, I'm just gonna quickly go through some of the IPOs, recent IPOs. Circle doesn't look anything too interesting. Figma popping back up at the moment. We'll see if there's some sort of reject around that 76.60 area. Bullish, trying to reclaim the $64. Low volume on this one. CoreWeave is the next IPO that we really like to keep an eye out for. Great volume, but I'm not really seeing anything that's just standing out that's saying short, long in front of my face. So just worth keeping an eye on the watch list, but no clear setup that's screaming at me at the moment at a quick glance. Maybe tomorrow, if there's a catalyst, that stock is worth keeping an eye out for. Roblox, I'm really looking to short this name, short the crap out of this. If you followed my call out yesterday, which was basically look for weakness around 120, you would have been able to get some scalps for the most part, but there was no real trade over here. So still being patient. I think if Roblox does reclaim 120, 121, it's gonna go for a little bit of a short squeeze, but continuing to stay weak over here, and then finally breaking down under 112 would really open up some weak side on Roblox, weakness on Roblox, which I want to be very eager to take capitalize on. So I'm gonna throw an alert to the downside over there. GEMI is a coming IPO from the Winklevoss brothers. Not sure if that's an IPO I need to care about. What's the size? And I don't actually even see that on my notes. Maybe it's in the next month or the month after that. We'll worry about it when it happens. But right now, at the moment, no real IPOs for us to care about. Tomorrow, actually, there is an IPO. Cantor Equity Partners 4. What happened to Cantor 3, 2, 1? They all got blown out. Like, what happened to partners 1, 2, and 3? However, partner number 4 is going public tomorrow around 10 o'clock, around $10. This sounds like a reverse SPAC merger instead of actual company, but we'll dive deeper into that in a second. 400,000 shares. Let's go see if it is a SPAC merger or not. Is this a blank check company? It is. Okay, blank. That's all we care about. Blank check company, reverse SPAC merger, not anything of any specific care. Cantor Equity Partners 4. That just sounds like the first 3 are actually companies that they probably successfully reverse SPAC'd and so on. I remember Cantor making a bunch of tickers before, and I'm guessing most of them got already, they turned into a real ticker. If I remember correctly, the what's the Polaris? Was it Polaris? PSNY? PlayStation? Polestar. Polestar was actually a reverse SPAC merger from a Cantor Equity, if I remember correctly. Might have to do some research on that. What all... We'll see quickly if we can find us some answers over here. For some reason, I remember Polestar. I guess not. Okay, so yeah, no IPOs at the moment. And for the econ calendar, today we had the FOMC minutes. Tomorrow we have jobless claims. That's an important number, obviously. Jobless claims will be a very important number for the interest rate decisions. So keep an eye out to see if that comes out as a surprise. You have a couple other sentiment numbers like the Philly number and the S&P number. This one's actually a legitimate data number too. So the Philly numbers are just sentiment numbers, but the S&P global PMI and the initial jobless claims, those are important times. You also have the 30-year tips tomorrow. That's another important data set. Balance sheet at 4:30. We're not going to be trading at that time anyways. And then existing home sales at 10 o'clock. So it seems like Thursday we do have a little bit of an active economic calendar ahead of us. So we'll see CEP. That was a ticker that I've traded before. I remember CEP. But now it's XXI, XXI. Oh, I can't even see it. I remember trading CEP. Maybe that's what it was. Alright, folks. That's basically the stream. I'm gonna head over downstairs, go walk the doggo, do the dishes, and do all the other nightly work that I have. You know. And then I'm gonna come and then do my chart homework that I usually do. I wish you guys best of luck for tomorrow. Good luck on the markets. Make that sweet cheddar cheese. Last final stream of the week. Tomorrow, Thursday, 21st August. Catch you guys then. Bye, 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 bye.
Get ready for the watch list for tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna bring in my big screen over here. Back to another brand new week of After the After Hours with your host TraderPrad. I'm doing great. Hopefully you guys are joining me on that great side. Markets are moving around. Might just be a risk on type of day. So let's see what happens. 8 o'clock tomorrow. As you guys know, we do the stream Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. Shout out to my affiliate sponsors, Benzinga, Trade Ideas, the #1 scanner to go to, Trader Sync, promo code down below, promo code PRAD15 to get 15% off. I will catch you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Until then, TraderPrad out. Adios.